Welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be continuing on with our SwiftUI tutorial series, and in this particular tutorial we are going to be taking a look at how we can detect when a user's cursor hovers over a view in SwiftUI. So let's go ahead and get started by going into Xcode. In the previous video we took a look at long press gestures, and we're going to change this code up slightly. So we'll keep our state Boolean, but we're going to change its name. All right, so instead of long pressed, we're going to say hovering. All right, so at state private var hovering equals false. Now, instead of on long press gesture, we'll say dot on hover. Now, this will take in a closure, and this closure will take in a Boolean. This Boolean is the current state, like the current hovering status of your view. So this Boolean will be true if the cursor is hovering over is hovering over the view. If it'll be false otherwise. So every time the cursor goes over this view and away from the view after hovering over it, this gets executed. All right. All right. Now, there is also an on continuous hover, so you can experiment with that. We simply want the one with the closure where we can say hovering in. All right, so now inside of on hover, we can say self.hovering equals hovering. So that way the state will change. Now, one thing I should mention before I run the app is that on iOS and iPadOS, this is and visionOS. So on iPadOS, iOS, and visionOS, this on hover modifier is often and should be paired with hover effect. Now, the hover effect modifier allows you to specify different effects that can happen when you hover over a view with the cursor in iOS, iPadOS, and visionOS. So this does not work on macOS. Just keep that in mind. You can't use hover effect on macOS. But there are a couple hover effects that you should know about. The first is automatic. Now, automatic allows the system to determine what kind of an effect should occur when your mouse cursor hovers over a view based on its context. It's not simply deciding between the two other styles. It goes and tries to determine one of the system ones that isn't provided to you or is provided to you, depending on its context. The second is lift. Now, lift, what this one will do is it will essentially allow your cursor to go underneath, visually go underneath the view that you're hovering over, and give the impression that the view has popped off the screen a little bit towards you. And this is especially useful on visionOS, because on visionOS, when you have something selected, like when you're looking at something, that is the normal effect of UI elements, where when you're looking at them, they will pop out at you to give emphasis. So I'll just show you the hover effect modifier and what it looks like. So we'll say dot hover effect. Now keep in mind my run destination is on macOS. Okay, so I'm gonna change this foreground style here. To hovering like that. Okay. So you can see that hover effect is unavailable on macOS. That's fine. But if we take a look at the autocomplete for this, you can see automatic, you can see lift, and then you can see another one here, and that is highlight. Now, what does highlight do? Well, highlight will provide a subtle highlight for your for whatever view you're hovering over, and your cursor will take on the shape of that view. Right? So that's what highlight does. It's really simple, actually. But that is hover effect. I urge you to experiment with this a little bit. Let's go ahead and run this code now. All right, and this is what it'll look like when you're hovering over the view. Go in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. All right, so you can see there it switches from blue to red and back again, however many times I hover back and forth over it and not over it. All right, so with that pretty much does it for this video, guys, on how we can detect when a user's cursor is hovering over a view in SwiftUI. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.